Can you see this?
Yes, yes, yes.
This is in Spanish.
It's okay.
So as you go around the sphere, you realize that the opposite meridians, like the polar opposites, form the 6 divisions. I didn't see that when I first saw the spherical pattern. I didn't see that. I showed it to another acupuncturist, and the other acupuncturist said, "This is interesting. The polar opposites here are the 6 divisions." And I said, "What?" "Yeah, I can see the 6 divisions here." And then that just really took this to another level. When you're able to integrate the 6 divisions, or the meridians of the 6 divisions with the meridians of the 6 elements, and make it harmoniously blend into one pattern, you got it. And so you basically have 6 meridians here, because heart and kidney form one meridian. You know, kidney flows up, connects into the heart, and the heart flows out to the little finger. It's one meridian. But then why is one half of the meridian so different from the other half?
Yeah.
And you begin to see in this spherical structure that there's like a polar opposite. And they're different, and they're separated. And between them are all of the other meridians. Like to really get from heart to kidney, you have to go through all of the other meridians to get there. And that's one of the beauties of how the body is structured with meridians, is that one meridian, it becomes reflected upon itself, and in order to communicate, in order to develop, it has to interact with all of the other meridians. It's forced, it can't be alone. It just can't say this is one little meridian independent of all the rest. The structure is built in such a way that in order for that one long meridian, Xiao Yin, to function, it has to relate with all the other meridians. And that's just ultimate wisdom of spirit to create that.
Yes.
But it really helps. It really helps to look at these 6 divisions. Did you watch the video on the Yangming induced disorder?
No, I didn't.
I'm going to show you a little video here of another way to understand how things flow around the spherical. Okay, are you able to see that video?
Point combinations for Yangming stage. Yes.
Whew. Okay. Now, what we're looking at are relationships on the surface of the spherical pattern. Remember how the heart flowed to stomach and how the liver flowed to stomach? Do you remember how the spleen flowed to heart? This is all on the surface of the sphere. And liver flows to small intestine, which flows to large intestine. So spleen and small intestine both flow to large intestine. Got it? So you're looking at how energy is flowing around the sphere by following these arrows. Now, let me go ahead and if I make this a little bigger, that's not gonna. How can I make this a little bigger? Is that big enough for you to see, or do I need to make it bigger?
Yes. No, no, it's okay. For me, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, so maybe this may not be the video. This is going to get kind of technical. Are you ready for this?
Yes,
Danielle,
I'm okay.
are you okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Probably best just to read this. Okay, so we have a fever disease, febrile disease without sweating, a Yangming stage. So there is a point combination used for the Yangming stage with fever without sweating. So I will analyze the point combination using the spherical meridian flow. Here's the point combination. Large intestine 1, large intestine 4, large intestine 5, gallbladder 43, stomach 45, pericardium 8, small intestine 4. So we're going to look at those point combinations and see how they work on the spherical flow. Now you tell me if this starts to get too advanced or if we need to go through some other things first. Because this is, are you ready? Daniela, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So this point combination
So you
comes from the
got
Greek.
first the point combinations proved to work well, and then now analyze from back to the beginning to find the logic behind it, right?
Exactly. Now we're going to understand why that point combination works by using the spherical flow. So it is a powerful point combination for releasing high fevers with no sweating during a Yangming syndrome. So we might have to go back and look at the previous video where I explained how to look at the Yangming stage around the spherical flow. But let's just say first, the Yangming channel, stomach and large intestine, are polar opposites. They close down. So energy can't move through from one side to the other of the spherical flow because that particular division closes down, the Yangming. And energy from one side of the sphere has to flow to the other side of the sphere. And it has to flow through stomach and large intestine. And if you close those two off, you separate one side of the sphere from the other. Okay, so the points used will unlock the Yangming channel to release, what's that word? I can't see it. Heat? Heat. Stomach 45 is used for heat conditions related to stomach meridian. This point opens the stomach Yangming channel to release heat. But what about the large intestine meridian? Okay, so let's continue on. So here we have the spherical flow. Can you kind of see that? That there's the orange, the red circles are on the front side, and the yellow circles are on the back. So like the lung, pericardium, and kidney are in the back of the sphere. And the heart, liver, spleen are on the front part of the sphere. So,
Yes.
if you start to follow these arrows around, you can see that there's energy flowing around the sphere. We can see that just because the arrows show that the energy is flowing in different directions, connecting meridians. Okay, so we know energy is flowing. Okay, so what's going on here? The spherical meridian flow shows that the Yangming division has two polar opposites, the stomach and the large intestine. You can see that. And they close down in order to concentrate qi in the heating cycle. So if you close down stomach and close down large intestine, what do you basically do? Well, on one side of the sphere, you generate heat. Heart, liver, spleen. Heart, liver, spleen, some small intestine. Heart, liver, and spleen creates heat. You have this fire. And as the liver feeds into the spleen, it creates the fuel for fire. See that? If you concentrate heat in heart, liver, and spleen, you have the yin substances of blood and yin, the earth substance, to feed the heart fire, and you can raise the temperature. So why doesn't that always happen? Why doesn't the body always just heat up? Well, because some of that heat will then flow through the stomach to the other side of the sphere, which will cool it down. Lung, pericardium, and kidney. Lung will cool it down through transpiration, kidney through water. The water flows through the body, picking up the heat and flowing it out through urine and things. So on the other side, you're cooling down the body. On this side, with the heart, liver, and spleen, you're heating up the body. So in order for the heat and the cooling to balance, the heat has to flow through the stomach. And then that cooling has to flow through the large intestine to come back to be heated back up. So you depend on the stomach and the large intestine to control this cooling and heating of this body. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
The energy comes through into this heating cycle, and you see these two orange circles going to the stomach? That's the heat.
Yes.
That's the heat passing through the stomach. And then there's two arrows going away from stomach to the back side of the sphere where that heat is going to cool down. And then as it goes through on the backside, lung, pericardium, and kidney, oh wait, I have something in my way here. Let me see if I can move it. I can't move that. I can't see. Oh, there it goes. Now I can see. Okay, so we have the orange lines going to the stomach, from heart and liver going to the stomach. And then from spleen and small intestine, they both flow to the large intestine. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so all of this heat will pass through the stomach or pass through the large intestine to the other side. So the heat wants to go to the other side to cool down. It'll pass through the stomach and the large intestine. If you block off the stomach and the large intestine, if you block those off, the heat cannot leave. The heat cannot leave to go get cooled down because it wants to pass through the stomach and the large intestine to go to the other side of the sphere. And at the same time, the energy from the other side is coming through the gallbladder and sanjiao, feeding into the heat. The energy comes from the backside, the energy comes through the gallbladder, and then the gallbladder feeds into the heart and spleen. So if you don't block off the sanjiao and the gallbladder, you have heat feeding in to the heat, you have energy feeding into that heating system of the heart, liver, and spleen. And then you shut down Yangming, stomach and large intestine, and that heat can't escape. You're feeding it, now the heat can't escape. So you're creating a fever.
Yes.
And if you want to lower that fever, you have to release stomach and large intestine. It's all right there in the spherical meridian pattern. It's all right there. So, what points would be used to open up the large intestine and release heat? So this is the question. You have all this heat, but here in the red color, and that heat wants to pass through the large intestine, but the Yangming channel closed. So how do you open that back up? Well, in the point combination, there are 3 points from the large intestine that open up large intestine to release the heat from the heating cycle. So now we're going to look at 3 acupuncture points to release large intestine so this heat can leave and go to the other side of the sphere to be cooled down. So now we're going to look at the meridians that were chosen. So on the spherical flow, the following meridians are in Shang sequence, so they feed into another. Small intestine feeds into the large intestine, which feeds into the pericardium, which feeds into the gallbladder. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You're just following the river around the spherical flow. Small intestine feeds into large intestine, which feeds into the pericardium, which feeds into the gallbladder, which will then feed back into heart and spleen to create more heat. But you have to release the large intestine to release that heat. Okay. Can you hear the video?
If I can hear,
Yeah,
no, just you.
here. Can you hear that?
No. Just I could just saw it moving, but not the
Okay.
sound.
So the video is basically explaining again how the energy is going to go through the stomach and small intestine.
Mm-hmm.
So you close down stomach and large intestine, you're going to concentrate the energy into that heating cycle. That's what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to look at this pathway from small intestine to large intestine to pericardium to gallbladder. You see this pathway where the energy wants to flow. So in order to get the energy to flow through that pathway, you have to open up large intestine. Pericardium will not receive any energy if large intestine is closed. So you need point combinations that are going to open up this pathway from spleen and small intestine to the large intestine, unblock the large intestine, and then that energy can flow to pericardium and then to gallbladder. Okay? So you want to open up this path.
Yes.
You see a pathway that has to go through the large intestine. So now we want to open up that pathway. Okay, so this is a common order of needling meridians. Okay, so from my experience with the spherical flow, when, let's see, when a meridian needs to be unlocked, like in this case, the large intestine meridian, It is common to see points used from complementary meridians. The preceding meridian, a point from the following meridian, and a point from the objective meridian itself. So when I've looked at point combinations in the past, and if you want to unlock large intestine, you have to choose point from a meridian that feeds into it. You have to choose points from a meridian that it feeds into, and you have to choose points of another meridian that complements it, and you have to choose points from the meridian itself. So you get before it, after it, flowing through it, and balancing it. And so in this point combination, the goal is to go ahead.
This complement one would be the in the 6 divisions or in the same element. Which of the both?
If you look at the 6 element model, large intestine is metal, and on the opposite side is wood. So it's the complement would be the opposite side of the 6 element model. So the complement to large intestine is going to be the gallbladder.
Okay.
They don't have a direct relationship, but they sit close to each other, creating this complement. It's an important part of getting things to flow. So in this point combination, the goal is to unlock large intestine. So by using gallbladder 43 complementary meridian by element, because it's on the opposite side of the 6 element star. Small intestine, which is the preceding meridian to the large intestine, and pericardium 8, which is the following meridian on the other side of large intestine, there's an apparent intention to unblock large intestine to release the exterior. So we see the point combination, right?
Yes.
There's 3 meridians that are around the large intestine. Okay, so the opposite meridian by division or element, stomach, gallbladder, or Sanjiao. You can take your pick. In this particular point combination, they chose gallbladder. Preceding meridian, small intestine. Objective meridian, large intestine. That's what we want to unblock. Following meridian, we could choose pericardium or kidney. In this case, they chose pericardium, which makes a lot of sense because the hypothalamus is creating the fever. And that's the pericardium. So in this case, it makes sense to choose pericardium instead of kidney. So when large intestine is closed down strongly, sweating is stopped. The lung cannot release. The fluids of kidney cannot flow into lung because that flow of the river has been stopped. Kidney cannot flow into lung on the cooling side of the sphere. This is a little advanced. Are you staying with me on this, Daniela?
Yes, I'm getting it. Yes.
Wow. Awesome. Okay. So I'm reading at the bottom, when large intestine is closed down strongly, sweating is stopped. However, the strong use of points to unlock the large intestine produces sweating to cool down the body. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, so we have our points. How are we going to choose which points to needle first? Now that we understand what's going on, we want to get the energy to move through large intestine. How are we going to needle those points? Do we just start with large intestine and then throw in the other meridians? Or is there a particular way to do this that's more effective in unlocking large intestine? First, the
big questions for the acupuncturists. Yeah, this is the big question.
And the spherical meridian system will take point combinations and tell you exactly how to needle them.
Wow.
That's another big advantage of the spherical meridian pattern. So first, the opposite meridian by division and or complement, that is needled first to create a point of balance to everything you want to do. You're going to create a point of balance. So the first thing you want to do, in this case, you can do stomach by the Yangming division, or you could do the gallbladder or sanjiao by complement. Then second, so in this case, you really want to needle the gallbladder point first. That's your destination of complementing the whole process. So that gallbladder point, that's what you want to needle first. Then second, the meridian following the objective meridian, which in this case would be the pericardium. So you're calling the energy. You're calling the energy to move through the large intestine by needling beyond it. You're calling the energy. Over here, come this way, come this way. You're giving it a place where it wants to go. And then third, you do the meridian preceding the large intestine, which in this case would be the small intestine. So now the small intestine says, oh, you're calling me to go towards you? So now you're creating this emotion for the energy to get from the small intestine to the pericardium. Because the pericardium, you needle the pericardium and says, come here. And then you needle the small intestine, and the small intestine responds, okay, let me get there, but I got to go through the large intestine first. But you create this desire for the energy to move from small intestine to the pericardium. And then once you needle that large intestine, the energy is just going to release through because it already wants to go through. And then the last point would be those large intestine points. So this would be the order of needling. You first start with the stomach, which is the complement to the large intestine by Yangming. And then you do gallbladder, which is the complement by 6 elements. And then you do the pericardium point. And then you do the small intestine point. And at this point in time, the energy wants to move through the large intestine. It wants to move through the large intestine. And then as soon as you bring in large intestine 1, large intestine 4, large intestine 5, the energy will just flow through. That heat will come down and the person will start to sweat. Now, if you don't do it in this order, it won't have the same effect. If you start with a large intestine meridian, you may simply be increasing the blockage. See that? You have to create this environment around the blockage so that the energy wants to move through the blockage. That's the key. That the way that you order your meridians helps you to move that energy much better.
Yes, I see.
And you can use this principle when you see point combinations in other books. And then you'll place those meridians on the spherical pattern. And you'll see that they form a path between the meridians. And once you can see that path, you'll know the order and how to needle those meridians.
Ah, okay. I see.
Like, let's say the stomach is blocked. All we have to do is turn it around and say, okay, the stomach is blocked. We want to release the stomach. Well, what are the complements of the stomach? Okay, that will be sanjiao, gallbladder, large intestine. Pick one or two of those, whatever you think is appropriate. And now you want to pick a meridian on the other side. So pick a point on the lung or bladder meridian. Because the stomach energy wants to flow to the lung or the bladder meridian. Okay, so pick a point on the lung or bladder meridian. Now come back and pick a point on a meridian that flows into the stomach. A point on the heart meridian or a point on the liver meridian, because those two meridians flow into the stomach. Then you come in with your last needle in the stomach meridian itself, and that energy will just flow through. Because you've set up that potential, you've set up that desire for the energy to move through the stomach, and once you hit it, it releases.
Nice. And to choose which of the two meridians to pick the point, should we consider which of the two would the patient have more symptoms related to?
Well, you're trying to move energy.
Because we always have two. Because we always have two coming and two going out, right?
Right.
So, but we need to choose one of these two. For this analysis, should we consider the amount of symptoms of each one, and then, or not necessarily?
It's like this. In the case of like a stomach blockage, let's stick with the large intestine. You can choose pericardium or kidney. You have to feel the pulse. Which of those meridians has less energy? Which of those meridians really needs the energy? Needle that one. Because it's going to say, yes, I really need energy. Please send me energy. Because it's a weaker pulse. And then you go to the other side, and you have to choose between spleen or small intestine. Which of those two meridians do you needle to get energy to go through through the large intestine? Well, you feel the pulse. Oh, the large intestine meridian is big. It's full of energy. Okay. Let's do the small intestine, because we want to go from that excess in the small intestine to that deficiency in the pericardium. And the large intestine is in the way. And so you needle the pericardium, saying this is where the energy has to go. You needle the small intestine and say this is all the energy that we want to move towards the pericardium. You needle the large intestine that's right in the middle of those two, and all that excess will flow to the pericardium. Mm-hmm. So it's a good thing you asked that question, because I didn't include that in this video of how to choose, which meridian, you have two choices of meridians that follow the meridian that you're trying to unblock. There's two meridians. Which one do you choose? Well, you really have to choose the one with less energy, the one with more deficiency. And then that creates the space. That creates the space for the energy to move through to fill that space.
Got it. Yeah. Great knowledge.
And you'll see point combinations like this throughout the history of acupuncture in many books. And most people just look at that as trying to figure out those point combinations through the 5-element model. And they're just not going to get to the secret of what those point combinations are really doing. And that's when the spherical model comes in, and all of a sudden now you can understand these ancient point combinations. And now we can understand how to use them so that we're not just throwing needles into those different points. Now we know what order to put those needles in.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find this video on the website, on the YouTube channel. You're getting,
Okay.
it looks like you're getting this. You can see this, can't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So later I will watch it sometimes and take notes and all that. But yes, I'm happy, really happy.
You know, if you look in those chapters where I go through like combining hand yin and foot yang meridians, and I talk about each combination, and then at the end I talk about the complements.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that, and it's in those sections of complements that you'll see which meridians are the complement to a meridian. Like you'll see for large intestine, you'll always see that it's either gallbladder, sanjiao, or stomach. Will always be the complement of the large intestine. So if you ever need to find your complement, you can just go to those sections of the chapters for the complements and find the relationships. And then I'll have a description there on what those different complements mean.
The complements would always be the division meridian or the one in the opposite side of the six theory graphic, right? So just in the opposite side, right, from the six theory graphic.
Can you see this now?
Not yet. Okay, yes.
Let me get to a chapter. Okay. Oh, this is just the foot yin. I want to get to a combination. Okay, so here we're going to unify hand yang and hand yin. Is that the one we want to do? Sure. So here,
Mm-hmm.
this is how the hand yin and the hand yang meridians combine. So we'll see one triangle, large intestine, small intestine, sanjiao. Those are the hand yin. No, wait, hand yang. Hand yang. Help me out here. I'm getting mixed up. Yes, hand yang. Whew. And then the hand yin is the other triangle, pericardium, heart, and lung. See those triangles coming together like the original yin-yang cones in a spherical pattern?
Mm-hmm.
Each of these, like hand yang, hand yin, foot yang, foot yin, these particular meridian groups also come together and form their own little triangular, they come together like in a 6-element pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see this. The complement here of large intestine is lung, its own, a meridian from its own element, metal.
Yes.
So it goes through, I'll go small intestine supports lung. You'll see up here, small intestine supports the lung. See that? And then we just go around the outside of that pattern, what each one means as the energy is moving through that, creating. And then ultimately, we get the opposite complements. This is where you're going to find the complements that this is where you first want to needle. So if you're going to needle, let's say, small intestine, a good complement is its own element. I mean, it's its own meridian within the element, heart. It's one of the complements.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you take hand yang with foot yin, then you'll see that small intestine's complement will be kidney. And then if you take hand yang with foot yang, then you'll see that small intestine's complement is bladder. So depending on which group of meridians you're combining, you're seeing different complements.
Mm-hmm.
Sanjiao complements pericardium. Sanja, small intestine complements heart. So here are some ancient point combinations between heart and small intestine. And let's say you wanted to unblock heart. You wanted to unblock heart because the energy is not flowing through the heart. And you might think, well, if there's night sweating, maybe I'll choose this second point combination, heart 6 and small intestine 3, to treat night sweating and restlessness from constrained heat in the heart. Or, yeah, constrained heat in the fire element, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you think, okay, it's most likely the heart meridian is blocked when you feel the pulses. So then you're going to needle small intestine 3 first, and then maybe liver, a point on the liver meridian to call the energy through the heart, and then maybe go back and a point on the gallbladder, which wants to flow through the heart according to the spherical pattern. And then at the end, you want to do heart 6, boom, and it all comes together. So you can take a simple point combination, heart 6 and small intestine 3, and build it into a bigger point combination, including points from the liver meridian and the gallbladder meridian. And then at the end, you do that heart 6 point, and you've called all that energy to move through the heart 6 or through the heart meridian, and you've opened up the heart meridian. And then the person can become, then the imbalance can go back into balance. And this is where a lot of acupuncturists fail because they don't do the right order of the meridians to target the objective meridian that they want to unlock, to unblock. They don't do the correct order to really set up that potential to move the energy through and unlock it. Because that is not taught in 5-element theory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is not.
So that's really one of the beauties of the spherical flow, is being able to see all these specific meridian relationships and being able to use them more effectively.
Yes. Wow. Really nice. You answered all my questions. Really nice.
Yeah, this would be good to come back every week or so and have some time like this to go through different videos and talk about different things. And if you have cases of different
Yes.
people, bring the cases and we can find point combination. We can build point combinations from the book.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Really nice.
Yeah, this
Great.
this is one of, because of the spherical pattern, this now becomes one of the most advanced ways or methods to use acupuncture.
I agree.
Yeah. So, Daniela, it's been a pleasure. And
Oh, and thank you very much.
do you have any more questions? Or do you want to think about this stuff? Or do you
No,
want?
no. I'll have more, but not today. I would like us to go through the astrology aspects, but yeah, another day.
Well,
I
perfect.
also study astrology. I studied astrology.
See, that's another fascinating part to this. You're going to take astrology to a whole new level. Did you read those sections in the book about those different case studies?
It's yes, the cases, yes, that some of them was just a matter of have some patience and wait for that period to go to pass away, and yeah, and use acupuncture to just provide some help for the patient to be calm and to wait for that moment to go away. Yeah, because it was written in the stars already that was just a phase and not nothing long term.
And then you can look at the astrology chart, the astral chart, and you can see problems in the physiology. When you start to apply acupuncture to the astral chart, and I think in the book there was one case of a man who didn't believe in astrology and he wanted to prove me wrong. So he said, here's my birthday. Tell me what's wrong with me. And I saw that the moon and the Mars were in a very, very strong quintile relationship, which speeds things up. Quintile is the energy of Mercury. It's fast. It's like the nervous system communicating throughout the body quickly. So if you touch your foot, your brain immediately knows. Whereas the endocrine system is slow. It has to release a substance that substance has to flow through the blood to get to where it's going. And then when it's in the right concentration, it makes a change. But with the nervous system, it's fast. So this guy had Mars and the moon in quintile relationship. So their relationship was really fast. Mars is the heart beating. Moon is the pericardium controlling the heartbeat. And so this relationship of controlling the heartbeat was already accelerated. So I looked at this and I wrote back to him. I didn't know him. He was just some message that came through on the internet saying, here's my birthday. Tell me if there's anything wrong with me. So I wrote back to him and I said, well, it looks to me like your heart is racing too fast because the moon, pericardium, is not able to control your heartbeat and it's speeding up. And he was like, oh my God, that's exactly it. I have to go back to the doctor every 3 months for treatment for tachycardia,
Wow.
which is a fast heartbeat. So you can see in the astral chart what you're trying to treat with acupuncture. And that is just taking acupuncture to a whole new level. You've got the spherical meridian, and then you've got the astral chart, which is helping you understand what's going on. And then once you see, oh my God, this person was born, I think I'm not having much light here, so it's looking kind of hazy, but this person was born with this condition. So what do I have to do as an acupuncturist? Well, you've got to calm down this relationship between the heart and the moon. Or is it the Mars and the pericardium? Oh, wait, or is it Mars and moon and pericardium and heart? All of a sudden, it all becomes one thing. Heart, Mars, Aries. It's all the same thing. It's all the same expression through the personality. We just got to calm down that heart energy, calm down that moon pericardium energy, and then this person will be able to live better. Their tachycardia is not going to be so crazy. And then so the astrology can really, really help you understand how to apply the acupuncture. So something to think about. Next time we can go deeper into that.
Okay.
Danielle, I really appreciate
Thank you.
your interest in this.
And I thank you very much for your class, for your time, for knowledge sharing, everything.